Good evening, everyone. My name is Nikki Zimmerman. I am your first VP. I will be conducting this evening's meeting. President Michelle Leet is under the weather, so I will be taking over in her stead for this evening. So we're going to have a call to order. This is our call to order. Next slide, please. As always, we start the meeting off reading our mission statement, which reads, the Fairfax County NAACP is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization whose mission is to achieve equity, political rights, and social inclusion by advancing policies and practices that expand human and civil rights, eliminate discrimination, and accelerate the well-being, educational, and economic security of Black people and all people of color. Next slide, please. We will start off with the prayer and inspiration. I believe that will be Mary Payton, who will give us that this evening. Mary, are you on?
She does not appear to be.
He does not appear to be on. Do we have anyone from anyone of the religions affair chairs here? Do we have any ordained ministers here? Okay, so I guess we will move forward at this time. Next slide, please. We will start with the Secretary's report with Secretary Mike O'Brien. Are you ready, Mike?
Yes, I am. Vice President Zimmerman, I'm just happy to be here. Good evening, everyone. My role this evening is really just to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting. Those minutes were distributed yesterday with the reminder about this meeting as an attachment. So hope you've had a chance to look at them. If there are any corrections, we'll certainly entertain those as well. But hearing none, could I have a motion? Don't everybody speak at once.
I move that the minutes be accepted as written from last month's meeting.
Thank you, Marilyn. And a second?
I move that the minutes be accepted from the last meeting.
Well, you'll be seconding that, Edwin. Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, could you simply raise your hand so we can see it? Thank you, Karen. All right, I think we have a majority, so motion passed, minutes are approved. They will be recorded and kept in our records as presented. And that's it for me, Madam Chair.
Oh, thank you. Next slide. Now we will have the Treasurers and Freedom Fund Committee reports, Ms. Erica Scott and Ms. Monique Norwood. Are they on, or will we need to just circle? We'll probably just have to circle back. Next slide. Fair and Affordable Housing Committee, Ms. Mary Payton. Has Mary jumped on yet?
She has not.
She has not. We will circle back to her as well. So right now we're going to circle back to Mary and Freedom Fund. Is anyone from? Oh, okay. We have school board member, I believe Dr. Ricardi Anderson. We would like to acknowledge her, take a second to acknowledge her. Would you like to speak?
Oh, I would love the opportunity. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Very excited to be here for this meeting, and I will be on for the duration. So feel free to reach out to me at any time. As you all know, we're back in school. We're in day 2. And so the kids are excited and they are rearing to go and to have a wonderful time, but our work continues. And I think I can also share this here. I am also running for re-election to the Fairfax County School Board. I will also put in the chat my kickoff that is going to be happening this Sunday. I would love for all of you to join or to pass the word to friends. And if you're unable to join, hopefully you can donate or you can volunteer at some other time, because we need all of the hands in order to make this a reality. I appreciate being here, and I look forward to continuing to support this organization as I have been, as I have been doing. I look forward to learning with all of you this evening. And if there are any questions for me, I'm happy to answer. But I do want to be sure that we remind folks, and I know this is an informed community, but I do want to be sure to remind folks we have an election coming up November 7th. And there are lots of folks on the agenda to consider. I'm trying to keep to the motto that you've just read earlier, the purpose and the goals, as a nonpartisan organization. And so if there are some questions that I can answer, I'm happy to, but I don't want to leap into those waters and violate any of those premises. So thank you so much, Chairwoman Nikki Zimmerman, for this evening.
No problem. Thank you for coming.
And I mean,
Any
any
issues
issues on the docket coming up at the school board these days that we should be aware of that you think is pertinent for this group?
Oh, absolutely. Great question. One of the hot topics that is taking place right now, as you all may know, are the model policies that the governor has put forward. And Fairfax County, along with several other jurisdictions, will be holding fast to our current policies because they are consistent with federal law. So that's a conversation that is yet to be developed. We're not sure what the governor's next steps are because Arlington, Fairfax County, as well as many other jurisdictions in the Commonwealth have expressed concern with what the governor has put forward, which really removes many rights for our students, for some of our students, particularly our students who are gender expansive. The other issue that constantly continues are the TJ reforms that the board undertook a few years ago. We have the Coalition for TJ that continues to file appeals and to push for a reversal of what was just of the verdict that we received this past summer. So there is an ask by that group for the Supreme Court to take up the TJ case. And so we will wait to see what the Supreme Court decides. But I think given what has been taking place at Harvard and in other places, there's some real reason to be concerned.
Do we have any other questions for Dr. Anderson? Dr. Anderson, can you please put in the chat how we can follow you? Your Twitter handle, Facebook page, or your IG?
I will put all those things in the chat shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. In the meantime, has anyone from Housing or Freedom Fund come in? Do we get anybody from Housing or Freedom Fund yet? Okay, we can go ahead and move to the next slide. Okay, Criminal Justice Committee, Luke Pertic, I apologize if I say that wrong, or Edwin. Are any of you
yeah,
all
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here right now. So
Edwin, you look
what-
different than when you looked 10 minutes ago. Something happened.
yeah, I cannot see, so I had to put my glasses on. I believe the last time we said that we're coordinating time between President Lee and Commonwealth Attorney's Office to meet on a quarterly basis. Luke was basically spearheading that, so I'll ask him where we're at with that. We're coordinating basically with ACLU Power of Fairfax on the foot pursuit policy. This is basically related. This is related to recommendations to Chief Davis. We're going to be focusing basically on six themes: dangers of a foot pursuit, the severity of an offense, the risk of a pursuit, alternatives to a pursuit, environmental variables, basically within the event, and then a foot pursuit when it's armed, meaning a drawn weapon as well. So we are Luke Pratik and I are reviewing the recommendations from the police reform matrix working group. And so we'll have at our next meeting, we'll have basically a follow-up on that. We looked into basically the co-responder model, improvements to FCPD's co-responder model, and actually shortly ago we had a subcommittee meeting for the data subcommittee for CJC. We're going to look into what we can do for getting access to mental health data, be it if that data isn't released or if they just don't even collect that data. If they don't collect that data, that's kind of like a lot bigger lift, and we can start looking into the Community Policing Act for that. But as far as the co-responder model, we think that there's stuff we can do with not only getting access to mental health data, but also incorporating this chatbot that we looked at. It's called Rahim AI, or that's the former name. Now it's called Community Response Works. It's part of a network of organizations, human services and social services, that advocate for crisis, mobile response for crisis. So getting access not only to basically mental health data, it's going to help us to make a better story, create a clearer picture of what we're seeing, but it'll get us a better understanding of how law enforcement is interacting, how those interactions go when mental health is basically like an indicator within the call. As far as our data transparency, again, we're putting together a list of recommendations because we want to update the Community Policing Act. One of the things we're possibly looking into expanding, having more comprehensive language, I would say, into the Community Policing Act is the type of arrest that occurred. So with that, at our next meeting, we'll have more follow-ups and more details on that. And we're generating basically that list because of the 2023 DCJS traffic stop data report that came out. So we ran an analysis, and we put together a corresponding statement with the BSC, and so everything basically falls kind of like in line with what's occurring at the state level across different counties and what's occurring regionally. We're seeing those same effects here locally as well within the county. And then we're also, as far as like Commonwealth statutory reforms go, we've been working on it. Specifically, Luke's really been primarily focused on it, is analyzing Virginia HB 70, known as the Law Enforcement Officers Procedural Guarantee Act, which is colloquially known as the Police Officers Bill of Rights. So seeing basically what we can find within that, and then doing an analysis of what other states have with their police officers' Bill of Rights. But we want to get together a set of questions for candidates running in the November elections too. I think that'll give us a good indication of how we could basically, kind of like partner down the road after the elections for these statutory reforms. But that is everything that CJC has.
Thank you, Edwin. Do we have any questions for Edwin at this time? Mike?
Hey, Ed, I would just wonder if you could provide, we saw each other at the national meeting just a few weeks ago. Good to see you again. If you could, the traffic stop data report has gotten a lot of attention. I wonder if you could just summarize the findings for us, for those of us who haven't had a chance to take a look at it.
Oh, okay. I think Matt's Matt, are you here? Matt's out. I don't know if he jumped in, if he's not. Is he actually
Even just, you
nah,
mentioned.
Matt's not. Okay. Yeah, so for basically the like the findings were at the state level, I believe it was African American drivers were pulled over at a higher rate than what's compared to, you know, basically the population. I believe 40% higher. And I think I believe Latinos and Native Americans were pulled over and stopped at like 20 to 30% higher. So we did an analysis and we found those numbers correspond to what we're seeing locally. When we went further back in the data, which was pretty alarming, we saw that African American drivers within Fairfax County are pulled over at a rate at 118% higher than other drivers, Caucasian drivers, and Latinos are pulled over, I believe, at a 71 or 74% rate higher than Caucasian drivers. So yes, those clearly numbers are very alarming. I mean, it basically trends to for for every Caucasian driver, a little over two African American drivers are pulled over. So it is, very, very alarming, something that we want to keep our eyes on. But it's not only kind of like stopping there, right? Like saying, okay, you're pulled over. We want to see, are those kind of like pretextual stops that are occurring? What's occurring? What is the data further telling? Are arrests occurring? Are searches occurring? One of the things that we are encountering with the data is that that kind of like that dimension between arrest and search, which occurred first. Was the individual arrested because of a search, or was the individual arrested and then a search like a search occurred? So that's part of I guess that's part of our strategy into the Community Policing Act, further defining the data requirements and the data collection methods that are necessary. Like what kind of arrest was it? What occurred during the search? So it is alarming, but I think that it definitely only tells like part of the story. We want to dig a little further into not only the data, but we want to see, okay, why is it that these other segments of the population are pulled over at higher rates, and what's occurring after that?
Great, thank you.
Definitely.
Well, if there are no more questions for the Justice Committee, it's never too late to give God some praise and some inspiration. And with that said, Mary Payton has joined. So let's go back, if we can, to right there, the prayer and inspiration. And Mary, are you ready for a little prayer? Because I have a lot of asks for God. I have my laundry list. Mary?
Okay, I'm unmuted now, and I'll give you a prayer.
Thank you.
This is sort of a prayer in progress. It's a draft. You could call it a draft scripture. I'm a Unitarian, and we don't have our own scripture, but we kind of write it as we go along. And this is the draft that's being worked on right now that kind of describes what our our philosophy or our theology is. And I'll read it to you. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Inseparable from one another, these shared values are: one is independence. We honor the interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. We covenant to share Earth and all beings by creating and nurturing relationships of care and respect. With humility and reverence, we acknowledge our place in the great web of life, and we work to repair harm and damaged relationships. Pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. 3 is justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant, means this is what we promise we'll do with each other. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions. 4 is transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect. Next is generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. And last, but I think most important, is equity. We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, and attention and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. And we can say amen.
Amen,
Amen.
Mary. Amen. Since you're already on the horn, we're gonna go ahead and do the housing committee report.
Yes. So we have a lot of things going on, right? A lot of things coming to fruition right now. One is on fair housing. I just met with a senior person in the county executive office who has been charged with helping to coordinate, or actually with coordinating our fair housing response, our fair housing goals, and tracking them and reporting on them and making sure they actually happen. And this is what we recommended, NAACP recommended to the board that they agreed to on July 25th. They accepted quite a lot of recommendations that came in from different places, but they also committed to our recommendation, which was that they prioritize recommendations and actually do some things that will make a difference in fair housing, and that they set up an administrative framework that would allow somebody to lead this effort so that there would be accountability. And they did that. And I just met with the leader of it today, and I was impressed with him. So I'm pretty happy. I think that was a big win for us. That's something we've worked on for, I think, at least 4 years. And we'll see how it works out, but I'm really delighted with it. Another thing we've done recently is we sent another letter to the Board of Supervisors last week. And this is a little bit intertwined issues. One is that the board seems to have this campaign going on against panhandling, which is largely done by homeless people, not exclusively, but it's done usually by pretty poor people. It's not, some people claim there's organized gangs out there panhandling, but I don't know that there's all that much money in it. I know there are a lot of poor people out there panhandling. And the board is telling people in a media campaign not to give money to panhandlers, but rather contribute to a charity that will help them. And our position is that the board should help them, the county should help them. And until they can guarantee people shelter, especially in the hot heat of summer, until they can guarantee people a place in one of the emergency shelters, they shouldn't be getting all worked up about panhandling. They should be focused on providing for needs of people who don't have a place to sleep. We also just finished a survey of people who are homeless in the summer, and quite a lot of them did want a cool place to sleep. It's not true that all the people out there have rejected county services. Many are okay being out in the woods in the summertime if they had a little more access to showers and bathrooms and I don't know, electricity, some fans, etc. But a lot of them really do want to get into the emergency shelters. And when you call to get into an emergency shelter, it could take months. You can be on the waiting list for months if you're a single adult, man or woman. And that's, I don't know, if you're having an emergency, it's hard to wait months. So we are doing two things. We're going to propose to the board that they put a little more money into providing places for homeless people to stay, that they do build some more permanent supportive housing, build more, convert offices, buy apartment buildings, do whatever they can that works quickly to get some shelter for people. And that they also stop telling people not to give money to people because they're well taken care of, because we know that's not true. We're also doing some work with some tenants out at the Bowman Town Court in Reston. We're helping them to organize. They have some complaints about their landlord not doing proper maintenance and not getting back to them in an efficient way and not treating them with respect. And their landlord happens to be the county. So what happens is the county owns about 4,000 housing units, and they contract out the management of these units to different management companies. So directly, the tenants are complaining about the management company with whom they're having contact. But ultimately, it's the county who needs to oversee the management companies. So we're working with these tenants. We're encouraging them to have a meeting, to get a lot of people together, to document their complaints, and to help them take this up the chain to the Fairfax Housing Authority, which is the body that should be overseeing the management companies and making sure that they treat the tenants correctly, as they promised in their contracts with the county. What else am I doing, Nikki? You're doing something else.
You are answering questions for those who have them. Any questions for Mary and the Housing Committee? Hearing none. Thank you, Mary, for the inspiration and the in your committee report. We
Okay.
will move. Yes,
I'm going to say that we may be asking some folks to help us with this campaign for housing unsheltered people, rather than campaigning against giving them money. We may put out some social media stuff and ask people to further it around so that the board can hear from us from many directions.
And any questions for Mary?
Nira just put in the chat the link to what the social media campaign, I guess, what they're saying, what you need to know about panhandling. She put that link in the chat so you can read what Mary was referring to.
Yeah, this is what the county's saying about panhandling. And I think they're being a little bit disingenuous about this, that they're really not taking care of everybody's needs like they're saying.
All right, thank you for the info. You all can click on the link. Now we will move to the treasurer and Freedom Fund report. Monique, you're here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so Erica Scott couldn't be here this evening, but I just want to let you know our accounts are all in good standing as far as the treasurer's report. And I also wanted to take a moment to announce for the Freedom Fund, that committee has been hard at work in preparing for the September 23rd Freedom Fund Jazz Brunch. So, and I'll say Jazz Brunch and Silent Auction. So this is the branch's big fundraiser for the year. It allows us to do the work that we are set out to do, because as I'm sure you're aware, that freedom is not free. And so we would like to be able to support the committees and just support the branch. And so this is our big fundraiser. And there's several ways that you can help. I'll have one of my committee members provide the link in the chat if you have not already gotten your tickets. But tickets are now on sale. The cost slightly went up from last year just because everything has increased, but we still tried to at best as we could just have it to cover the cost of the event to host. There's also sponsorship opportunities, and that's also available via the website on the link. And then lastly, we are accepting donations for silent auction. So if you have a business, please do reach out. We are accepting those, or as well as vendors. If any vendors would like to come, feel free as well. So again, that's September 23rd at 11 a.m. to 2:30. And we will have entertainment. Common Ground, I hear, is very good. They've worked with the branch before. And so we are excited to having them this year as well.
Any questions for Monique and the Freedom Fund? Any questions about the jazz brunch? Monique, can you put in the chat how our membership can reach you all? Your
Yes,
email, because your email's not up here.
no problem. We'll add that in there.
Okay, thank you. So, Columns, we can go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Okay, political action. Third VP, Karen Camblin, are you here?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, Nikki.
Thank you.
Hi, Vice President Zimmerman. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I am going to try and run through some of the stuff we're working on at the Political Action Committee pretty quickly, so please bear with me. But I'm going to talk about some of the election processes, some of the voter protection effort that's going on, as well as some of our outreach and education programs with opportunities for you to participate, help us spread the word, and encourage voters to come out. As you know, our democracy is at risk, so this is a very important election cycle that we're going through. As you know, all of our local offices and our state offices are going to be up for election. And it is vitally important that we get elected officials in office who represent our values and what we want. As you've seen around the Commonwealth and nationally even, a lot of our hard-fought civil rights are slowly being eroded and chipped away here in Virginia. I'm also on the Political Action Committee for Virginia State and NAACP, so we're also following things on a state level, but we're watching, election offices and registrar's office closes with no intentions of being replaced. Virginia Beach, they have removed early Sunday voting, souls to the poll. So there's going to be a lot of things that need to happen this election cycle so that we can make sure we secure the vote as well. So we're about 30 days out until early voting. Our early voting starts September 22nd. We are encouraging everyone to try and vote early. Early voting will start where you can go to the elector's office at the Fairfax County Government Center. And then on October 16th, all of the other designated early voting locations are going to be open. At the end of my presentation, I will be putting all of these links in the chat for you to save, and you'd be able to refer to it as needed. We are also going to be disseminating this information in our newsletters and on our social media networks shortly. So stay tuned. And in addition, we'll be getting more information. So please make sure to follow us online, our Facebook and our Instagram, as well as our YouTube channel. So like I said, pardon me, I think I kind of jumped ahead. So October 16th, okay, so early voting starts September 22nd at the Fairfax County Government Center. October 16th at 11:59 p.m. is the last day to register to vote for the general election without a provisional ballot. So please, if there's anybody that still needs to register, if they moved, even just tell them to check it. Just go ahead and make sure that your status is okay and it matches, to make sure that you won't have any issue on the day of election before October 16th. And then, but, this is a plan that we have, but this should be a last ditch effort, which is you can request same day registration on election day, but your ballot will be accepted as a provisional ballot. we want to make sure that everybody gets their ballot in as a regular ballot for the general election. So please, please, please encourage everybody to get everything done by October 16th at 11:59 p.m. On October 17th is when all of the designated early voting locations will be open. And those we'll have at least one in all of the magisterial districts. And so that will begin on October 17th through November 4th. And then our election day for the general election is going to be Tuesday, November 7th. So I'll go over those dates really quickly. September 22nd is when early voting starts at the Fairfax County Government Center. October 16th is the last day to register to vote for the general election without a provisional ballot. October 17th is when all of the other designated early voting locations open. They'll be open from October 17th through November 4th. And election day is November 7th, and our souls to the poll, which is one day, we're going to get one day to be able to vote on Sunday. And we usually, for the past 2 years, we've had an event on this souls to the poll is going to be Sunday, October 29th. So stay tuned. We'll tell you what that those things are still in planning. And then we also want to make sure that everybody is aware November 8th is when we are going to, is also an important day, which is the day after election. That's your curing your ballot. So if you hear of anybody who encountered any issues on election day, we will have voter protection efforts in place where people can get information on election day. But everything has to be, if additional information is required, it's November 8th that they need to do that. So we're also going to be encouraging folks to make sure that everything, if they encounter any issues on election day, that they cure their ballot on November 8th. So we're going to be pushing that information out. Some of the things that we've also seen across the state is Governor Youngkin pulled Virginia out of ERIC. Now, ERIC is the Electronic Registration Information Center, which was founded in 2012. Now, the purpose of this system was to help elected officials maintain more accurate rolls and detect possible election illegal voting. So the municipalities would provide information if there were any deaths or anything like that. This was a way in which the voter poll was being kept up. Right now, there is no reliable system doing this process right now. So we are anticipating encountering some issues. And so, which is why we are not only are we encouraging everybody to vote early, we're also encouraging folks to become election and poll workers on election day, to be inside and being able to help monitor what goes on and making sure that everybody who should get access to a ballot gets an access to a ballot. So we are right now pulling together a voter protection committee. So please stay tuned. You'll get more information about that and how you can report discrepancies. If you do sign up to be a poll worker on election day, please, and my email address will be in the chat when I post it, please let me know that you are doing that. And if you can ahead of time, let me know what I think you can, let me know what precinct you're working on, just so I know where folks are. We also have access to the Voter Action Network. And so the Virginia State and NAACP will be having a series of training. And so we're going to be able to cure voter information here in Fairfax County. We're not really going to focus on we're not focusing on registering voters, right? Because we have the League of Women Voters, who is an amazing partner and strong supporter of this branch. And they have a fantastic voter registration program. But within the Black and Brown community, our voters are more infrequent and more at risk of being taken off the polls. If you do not vote, I think it's 3 consecutive election cycles, you are at risk for being pulled off those polls. So what we're going to do is we're going to be focusing on those infrequent voters and encouraging them to vote in this election cycle. And that's going to appear at where, using the information through VAN, we're going to identify hotspots within the county and do canvassing like what we did last year, where we did lit drops in key areas throughout the county. We did lit drop in, even along the Route 1 area. We worked with Andrea Miller with Center for Common Ground to kind of hone in on where those things will be. We will be doing that as well again this year, working with Center for Common Ground to do that. If you're interested, please let me know. Again, please make sure you follow us online, because a lot of those information is going to be there, and make sure you're getting the newsletter from our communications team. We're also going to be working with our Women in NAACP committee to pull together candidate forums. That is currently in the works. We are looking at the Route 1 community to hold it. We had our meet and greet in the primary at the Chantilly Baptist Church. Right now, we're going to do a candidate forum in the Route 1 area. We're finalizing the location. We have identified September 30th as our tentative date. Please just pencil us into your calendar. We are going to need support for that. Please reach out to me to let me know if you'd like to be part of the planning committee. We're hoping that we can also partner with our GMU and AACP group. We are not sure about that yet, but please stay tuned for that. I already went over the information about what we're going to be doing in terms of mobilization, which is our canvassing and lit drop. The Political Action Committee is working with all of the different committee chairs, as Edwin has already kind of mentioned a little bit about, in which we're pulling together a candidate questionnaire, which we are planning on get out to the candidates shortly. And then we're going to have it uploaded to our website, which is another, and we're going to have more information about our candidates who are going to be appearing on our ballot on our website for you to peruse and get to know who those candidates are. And of course, like I mentioned before, we're going to have some social media campaigns. If you see us do campaigns, please help us disseminate the information, repost, share. And then one of the biggest and most effective tools that we have are you. So please talk to your friends, your family, your neighbors, and encourage everyone to vote, get to know the issues, identify the candidates that line up with the NAACP values. We know what we're doing. We are trying to eradicate discriminatory barriers for all people. So let's elect all of those candidates that guarantee that's what they're going to do, is work to remove those barriers, whether it's education, climate change, justice reform, or those things. And then, of course, if you have any questions, my email will be in the chat. I'd be happy to talk to folks offline. We meet on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. If you want to join us there, please let us know, and I will make sure to send you the Zoom. And I will ask Leader Spain, who is the chair of the Women in NAACP, to, if I missed anything about the candidate forms, to please bring those up at this time.
Thank you, Third Vice President Camblin. No, I think you did an excellent job. We've been working with a number of other organizations. I think this is going to be a great symposium once we pull it off. I think the most important thing is to know in local elections, we don't get that much of a turnout. And so like VP Camblin says, you are our most important advocate to get your friends and family, everybody involved in knowing who the candidates are, and then getting to the polls to vote is going to be essential for us to get the right candidates in. So thank you, President Camblin. Thank you very much.
VP Camblin, you missed a very important, vital event for November 8th, and I am so disappointed right now.
What is it, your birthday?
Duh.
I am so sorry. How could I have done that?
All is forgiven. All is forgiven.
For the
anyone have-
reminder.
Huh?
Thanks for the reminder.
November 8th, national holiday, Nikki's birthday. Any questions for political action or women in NAACP?
I have a question.
Marilyn Bernhardt, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm new to the area. I noticed that VP Camlin did not mention voting by mail. Will that be present for this election?
Yes, you can. Yes. And yeah, you can vote by mail. And thank you for bringing that up. Let me see if I can find the date really fast. But it will be in, yeah, so deadlines to register to vote, and that was a great question. Online is October 16th, at online 11:59. By mail, it needs to be postmarked no later than October 16th. And in person, it needs to be at the office of the elections by October 16th. You can vote in person at the early voting locations and on November 17th. Now I'm trying to find out, I'm trying to find the information on the deadline to submit your vote by mail is I think November 4th, but I put in the link, the Fairfax County elections website, where you can go there and request to have a ballot sent to you if you wanted to vote by mail. You'd get that information there. So in the chat, I put the information about the website information for the Fairfax County elections homepage. That is their landing page. So you'll have access to everything there. But then I kind of honed in on some of the key points that I brought up today, which is early voting and how to become an election officer. And then, oh, those links didn't work. I have to follow up. I also included in the chat on Saturday, Virginia NAACP had a Let Us Vote symposium. So I'll follow up with the links, but a link to the program where we had Chairman NAACP's Chairman Leon Russell was our keynote speaker. We heard from really great folks from NAACP headquarters who were involved with outreach, voter mobilization. We heard from key election leaders from Hip Hop Caucus. So in that would also include the link to that video. And then we pulled together a great voting toolkit that talks about more stuff, and Souls to the Polls, where I implore you, please reach out. Thanks, Jenny. Jenny also, she talked about the ballots by mail. It's in the chat. And then also there's the Souls to the Poll toolkit. We're trying to get all of our churches to promote Souls to the Poll. So trying to get everybody to vote go to church on Sunday, and after you go to church, go to the polls and vote. So that is something you can take directly to your religious leaders and encourage them to also talk about Souls to the Poll at any of your services. So I will update those five things, because the link didn't transfer over.
Any additional questions for VP Camlin or Chairwoman Spain as far as political action or when? Okay, hearing no questions. Next slide, please. Youth Council reboot, Mike and Monique. Who's going to take it away? All
I'm
right.
I'll take it. Thank you, First VP Zimmerman. Good evening, everybody. Wanted to alert you to a meeting that's being held on Sunday, August 27th from 4 to 6 p.m. on Zoom. It is a follow-up or a continuation, I should say, of our efforts to reactivate the Youth Council. We are very busy already, but because this is for students, we're taking on more. Myself, Monique Norwood, and Anita Gill Anderson and Sequoia Cottams have been taking on this effort just to get it going again. This is a student-led, I would say adult-sponsored and supported group, but we have some compliance issues and some administrative matters we have to get in line. So we had an event at the Laurel Grove School, which is the oldest school for African American children in Northern Virginia. That was on June 3rd, and it was a well-attended event. It allowed for students and their families to see living history local. Don't have to go to Jamestown, don't have to go far, just go down the road. And it was a well-attended and engaged event. And an example of the types of things, not the only thing, but an example of the types of things that the Youth Council could pursue and plan and have attendance at. And, talking to many parents there, it's not just, giving, community service or being part of a group. I mean, there are students who need to have a community service, a certain hour requirement as they, move through high school. But it also gives them a way to come together, students across schools, because I think, within Fairfax, both of my kids are FCPS. They give a good job of keeping students within their lanes within a school. And there's a lot of issues that run across schools, across the district. And I think it's a way to connect students who are in different schools, but have, similar issues and challenges. Also allows them to pursue just other things of interest. There's a lot of things they can do. And it's really something that we want them to lead and show, their interest in what they want to pursue. And it's up to us to support them. So we have a meeting on Sunday. It's from 4 to 6 via Zoom. I'm going to put all the information in the chat. And that includes an interest form, even if you're not able to make it. But if you're interested in having your child participate, or if you're interested in helping support it, because it is definitely something, the 3-4 of us have been working to get things reactivated, but there's no way on earth that we could actually maintain this. This has to be a group community, a collective community effort. So even if you're not able to make the meeting on Sunday, fill out the form with your information. It'll go to the email address, the contact list we have. It'll it'll stay in our database, and then we can continue to reach out as things go forward and as events come up. Are there any questions? Or Monique, did you want to add anything before I put the information in?
No, I think you did a good job. Just want to echo that. We are looking for students that are between the grades of 7th through 12th. And in certain years, we've had even younger. So just getting as much youth out as we can. So if you know someone, children, grandchildren, niece or nephew, please invite them to come as well.
Thank you. Any questions for Mike and or Monique for Youth Council Reboot? Will you all be making some social media posts as well, leading up to?
Yes, Michelle has done a really good job. The communications chair is kind of putting it out in our newsletter, and all week you'll continue to see on our social media invites.
Okay, thank you. Hearing no further questions, we can go to the next slide, please. New and old business. I'm kind of stuck. So is there any new business that we need to discuss at this time? Anything that we have not touched on? Any questions, issues, or concerns from the membership body? Mike, can we send your students? Mike, can we send students your way or should we tell their parents first? Mike, that was for you. There was another question. Well, that was for you and Monique. And Dr. Anderson, please share this information with me so that I can share. Hello? Okay. So Mike and Monique will take some time and jump on the chat. You can see Dr. Anderson made herself available to spread the word. And also Robert made a chat asking could they send the students directly to you or do they need to go to their parents first? So I'll let you all handle that. So hearing no questions, issues, concerns, new business or old business, we can move on to the next slide. Upcoming events. Yes, this is fun. Keep going. Yes. Anybody want to talk about this other than me? Because I will be there. So this weekend on the 26th of August, there will be the commemoration of the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington. It's a continuation march. If you all, there was an email sent out, or you can go to the NAACP website where I know you can register and you will be a part of the NAACP marching formation. And you can register there. I believe this is going to be led by MLK III. We will meet. There's a designated place where the NAACP will be meeting, and then we will march as one to the Lincoln Memorial. More information to come for that, but you have to register first. So that will be for the 26th. And here's the information down there. There's a phone number that we can call as well. And I'm going to write that down too in case I have any burning questions. I can't get to the number.
What was the answer to Rob's questions? I mean, it seems like parents should should students go to the parents? What was Rob's question? Can we send students your way, or should we tell their parents first? That's kind of what was the answer to that?
That would be better answered by either Mike Waltz or Monique Norwood.
And sorry, I'll just jump in. I put a link in the chat where you can have the students register.
All right, next slide. Any questions about the March on Washington? This weekend, be there or be square. Youth Council meeting coming up on Sunday the 27th, 4 to 6. Mike just gave us the information. Are you all going to send out another Zoom link for that?
I think Mike already put it in the chat.
Yeah, I put it in the chat. Okay, cool. All right, any questions, issues, or concerns that anybody has about the Youth Council meeting? Speak now. All right, next slide. Monique, could you talk a little bit more about the jazz brunch, the Jazz for Justice, please? We really want to get these tickets sold and get some people in the seats and dancing and eating and just having a great time.
Sure, exactly. So for everything you just mentioned, we will have, I don't know if everyone on the line had attended last year. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. Again, it's really the big fundraiser once a year that we have. And so we are looking to do a really big push. There are sponsorship opportunities, and that's listed on the website as well. Again, it'll be we're calling it it was a jazz brunch, but it's more of a jazz lunch. And so we'll have some fellowship, we'll have a brief meeting, and then we will have just a time for everyone to come and mingle and enjoy some good jazz.
Any questions for Monique pertaining to the jazz brunch?
And so I will say, please get your tickets early. And they are on sale now. We're hoping for a sellout event, so do get your tickets early.
If people aren't able to get the tickets in advance, will we have a way for them to get the tickets at the door?
So the ticket cutoff, I believe, is the 23rd or no, 23rd is the event. I believe it's almost a little bit the week before. I believe it's the cutoff date, and that's so that we can allow the Marriott our number. So we, at this time, we aren't anticipating any ticket sales at the door.
So you heard it here first. No ticket sales at the door. Get your tickets prior. You heard it here first.
VP Zimmerman, can I just say, can I give a shout out for the Common Ground? They are awesome. We've had them at a number of our Freedom, at least 2 other Freedom Fund events, and they do a fantastic job. If you want to dance, they know how to rev the crowd up to get them to dance. They play nice music, nice, easy listening music when we're having dinner or brunch. So I think you'll be very pleased with the musical selection and all of the other events that we're going to have at the Freedom Fund. So I encourage everybody to get your ticket and come enjoy. It's always a beautiful event to behold. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Chairman Spain. Next slide, please. So if you're tech savvy, you'll take your phones and you will hold it up as if you are taking a picture, and you capture the QR code, which should take you directly to our website so that you can see what's going on with the Fairfax County NAACP. You will have all of the executive committee members' names, contact information via email, all of our current events, our constant contact, our history, and things of that such. So again, if you have time and you want to peruse tonight on our website, all you have to do is thank you, Catherine Wiley. We have a new member who's excited to work. So you'll take your trusty smartphone and bring it up to this screen here and put it up to the QR code, and the QR code will take you directly to our website. Next slide, please.
That's the last slide.
That's the last slide. Can you go back to the second to the last slide? All right, so with that being said, does any of the branch leadership have any alibis? Any alibi information? Thank you again.
Nikki, wait a second. I just used the QR code and